All right, welcome to Blue Sparrow Wellness. I'm Dr. David Murr.
And I'm Dr. Indira Murr.
And we're happy that you're joining us here today. We're actually out at Harrell Park in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And this week is Thanksgiving week, and so we thought we would just talk a little bit about gratitude. So let's talk just a little bit. What's important about gratitude in our health and wellness, would you say?
Well, I think studies have shown that people that have a more grateful attitude, that can take time to take notice of the things that are blessings in their life, things that are good in their life, actually lead to an overall sense of optimism and well-being. So it's important to, I think, especially when there's so many negative things going on in the world. You watch the news, and we're all again coming out of COVID, and it seems like there are a lot of negative things that are going on. So if we can kind of take the time and really focus on the things in our life that make our life good, and make our life and give us help us to feel a sense of optimism and gratefulness, then it does improve your endorphins. It does have physiologic effects that actually make you feel better. Excuse me.
Yeah, and it's sometimes hard to be optimistic when things are difficult. Pastor Craig Gorshell at Life Church recently talked about this, and he was saying, you can't necessarily control what happens to you, but you can control your perspective about it. And so sometimes stepping back and looking for that positive approach or thoughts about something, even though at the time it may seem negative, it can be difficult, but it can really change things going forward. So whether it's finances, it's your job, it's your health, or you're injured or something, find that positive thing that you can take out of it. I know recently with illness, for me, it was interesting with having coronavirus. It slowed me down, but the optimistic way to think about it was it allowed me to have a pause and kind of rethink about how I approach stuff. And so, normally we think of that as a bad thing, but it actually was a positive thing. So,
yeah, I think a lot of times in our lives we're so busy, and we're kind of in the rat race, and we always focus on the next thing, what we have to do next, and our to-do list, and we actually never really slow down and take inventory of the things that, first of all, make our life worth living, that add value and joy, and the things that make us feel alive. And so if we don't pause and take the time to basically take an inventory, and in Christian circles we call it counting your blessings, but just pausing and taking an inventory and thinking about the things that you are grateful for, it does affect your outlook on life, and it does help you to physiologically. It helps things like your blood pressure. It helps regulate your heart rate and increases heart rate beat to beat variability. These things we'll talk about later, but taking inventory, slowing down, taking notice of the things that make your life worth living, it does have a positive effect on your overall well-being, your health and well-being.
And so I think you were going to share a couple of the things just kind of real quick on what you have found that were kind of helpful for tracking things of gratitude, I guess. So.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I use an app that's called 3 Good Things, and basically you can track 3 good things per day, or you can track 5 good things. It gives you an option, but there are lots of apps that you can journal. Just write down 3 good things about that day that stood out to you and made you feel positive, or made you stop and pause and think, well, I'm really happy that this happened, or that was that made me feel really good. And so I'll write things like, David and I went for a walk today, or like here, going for a walk at the park. That's one of my favorite things to do. Or one of the kids gets an A on a test, or we accomplished our list of to-do things for that day. So whatever it is, whatever kind of we talk about the dopamine hits, the things that when you do have a to-do list and you can cross off the things on your to-do list, it's an immediate dopamine release, and so those types of things, we tend to a lot of times focus so much on the negative that we can't see the positive. So so having something where you kind of write it down, it forces you to take notice, and then you think, this was a good day. I did accomplish a lot, or good things happened that I can take notice of.
Yeah, even if it's just those few things, it's important to keep track of it and be aware of it, and then you'll start to see even more and more things that are good about your day. So, and then you had a book you were going to recommend.
Yeah, I actually, it's called 1,000 Gifts, and it Dare to Live Fully Right Where You Are. And when I originally got the book, it's by Ann Boskamp, and most of you are probably already familiar with it. It's a bestseller, and she's written lots of books since then. But when I first got it, what stood out to me was dare to live fully right where you are, and that kind of spoke to me because I tend to live. I tend to live in the future. I tend to think about what's the next thing on the list, what's the next thing I need to accomplish, and so I thought, I thought it was a book about, just pausing and living in the moment. And what she highlights in this book is the 1,000 gifts. A friend of hers dared her to write down a list of 1,000 things that she's grateful for. And when you do that, when you take the time to write down the things that are meaningful to you during the day, or the things that stand out and make you feel happy, or make you feel that this adds benefit to my life, it does cause you to live in the moment. And so this was a life-changing book for me, and I highly recommend it if you haven't read it.
So a couple of great ideas for everybody to kind of think about. And again, this is our Thanksgiving week, so happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And I hope you have a wonderful week and get to share it with family and friends, and take time to consider what you're grateful for. So I think that's it.
That sounds good to me.